guys, Chris, formerly of CannibalReviews.com, here with a DVD, Blu-ray, and collectible update. I decided that I would sort of save my where have I been explanation for this particular video, because really this is what I started doing when I first created a YouTube channel, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, maybe longer. I don't know, it's been quite a while. But anyway, I figured a lot of you have been asking where I've been. A lot of you see me selling a lot of my stuff and have been wondering what's going on. And I'm going to try and keep the explanation under a minute or two. But I sort of went crazy in 2015. 2015 was just like the very worst year of my 32 years of being on this planet. I went through a lot, and I had to make a lot of tough decisions. I made the decision to move to Albuquerque and leave everything behind, and that right there was the hardest decision. You know, saying goodbye to my mom and having her say, "I'm gonna miss you," and she was crying, and it was so weird because you know, 4 or 5 months before that conversation happened, someone said something that really kind of changed everything, and that was, "I didn't miss you." And that was the harshest realization, the meanest words anyone had ever said to me. And it drove me into this deep depression, and luckily my job saved me. They sent me here for 2 weeks. I stayed for 2 months. They kept me here. And since moving here, I've had more promotions and more raises than I had in 6 months. I've had more of that than I had in 2 years of working for the same company in Oklahoma. So the opportunities here were just crazy. 2015 came and gone. 2016 had its share of rough patches. 2017 starting off very strong. At the moment, I am probably about 30 pounds away from losing 200 pounds, which is insane. 200 pounds as a person. I have shed a person, more or less. My buying habits have waned. They've changed dramatically. I have went through my stuff and I saw stuff I didn't need. I saw movies I no longer cared, or would never watch again. I own movies I didn't like simply because they were a Scream Factory or they were a Shriek Show, and I had this collector's mentality that I have to own everything. I can't just have one Scream Factory release, I must own them all. So I went through, and I'm still going through, I probably have about 25 more movies I want to sell. I have changed quite a bit, and I hope it shows, and not just my physicality, the way that I look now, the fact that I actually, I'm not so fat. I have muscle structure under here. I'm dropping everything now. But I hope it also shows in, maybe not on this video, but if you're my friend, I think you'll see that I'm a more positive, happier person. The next few months, you're going to see a lot more of my face, unfortunately. Or fortunately, if you're into weird-looking people. So don't get used to me being away for much longer, because I'm back. There's not a whole lot to show, but we're going to go ahead and go through here and start with the movies. So I do have 2 of these really cool sets from Arrow. These are limited sets. This one includes 2 films, and they are both sort of based on Edgar Allan Poe novels. You've got The Black Cat, which of course is Lucio Fulci, and then you have Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. That's by Sergio Martino. Now, Your Vice, I believe, was originally released, I think it was called Scorpion, maybe, I can't recall the exact company. It might not have been Scorpion, but there was a small company that was around for a few years. They did just outstanding releases. They released a lot of giallo, a lot of Italian crime films. So it's nice to see this one back in circulation, because it's been out of print for quite a while. This also includes a book and a slew of extras that we all sort of are used to from Arrow. So very, very solid set there. Next up, I have Bride of Reanimator, and this is, like Black Cat's, the limited edition version. So you can now purchase this as sort of your single disc version. You can purchase the Black Cat film separately as well. So this actually includes a book and a comic that is actually from the 90s. Not the greatest comic, but still a cool little extra. And then you have a cool little digipack. The Bride of Reanimator is a fun horror film. It's not nearly as good as Reanimator, unfortunately. Reanimator, in my opinion, is sort of the perfect mix of horror and satire, that sort of black humor, that dark humor. And they sort of took what was great about Reanimator and tried to expand on it. And unfortunately, it was just a little too much. There's a little too much going on in this film. And some people might love that, and that might be why Bride could be your favorite film, because of the overabundance of the special effects and the monsters, the creatures, creatures, the story, the craziness of it. For me, it's just a little too much. I really sort of enjoy the simplicity of Reanimator and the horror and the humor that's there. The cool thing about this set, though, is it includes a lot of special features about the special effects, and there was so much going on that they decided to sort of handpick who they chose to do what. So you have certain special effects companies that are really great at creature effects, and they're doing the monsters in this film. And you have ones that are really great at the stop motion, they're doing the stop motion, and ones that are really great at gore, they're doing gore. So there's just this huge abundance of some of our favorite special effects artists all involved in this film. They're all here and they're talking about it. So just amazing special features. Three more I'm going to talk about from Scream Factory, and I'm knocking everything over. These are three of their collector's editions. We have Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which is in my opinion one of the very best horror films of the 80s. It's very satirical, it's weird. There was no way they could recreate the feeling of dread and horror that the first film just sort of encompassed. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I think Tobe Hooper knew that he couldn't recreate the first one, so he went in a completely different, crazy direction, and he gave us this film, which is one of the most quotable horror films ever made. Day of the Dead, another great release with a really cool documentary on the making of the film. That's fantastic. Those two, and this one included very worthy upgrades here. So if you have, especially with Army of Darkness, if you have just one of the original Blu-rays or original DVDs, like, you owe it to yourself to get this, because you've got the R-rated cut, you've got the unrated director's cut, you have the international cut, you've got a documentary about the making of the film. So all the really cool cuts that were released outside the US that looked great, that Anchor Bay, I guess, didn't have the rights to use, or I guess maybe they're yearning to grab and remaster. Scream Factory has done just that, so it really does put all previous releases to shame. Next up, I grabbed this Night of the Living Dead DVD that included a bunch of really cool Night of the Living Dead magnets. This is originally a Horror Block exclusive. I wanted the magnets, and then I found out that this one actually has a special feature exclusive to this particular DVD, Chronicles of the Living Dead. Now, a moment ago I talked about how I was getting rid of a bunch of movies. Night of the Living Dead is still one of those movies that if there's a new edition out there with a new documentary, I will buy it, because this is my absolute favorite horror movie, actually favorite film of all time. That's Night of the Living Dead. I've got the tattoos, I've got enamel pins, I've got collectibles, and I've got movies. Like, if I had to sell everything, I guarantee you I would still keep Night of the Living Dead, all my Night of the Living Dead stuff, because there's not a whole lot of it out there, but I have, I think, cherry-picked the very best of the best that is available. So I love my little stash of Night of the Living Dead movies. Next up, we've got 3, 4... Okay, so these next 5 movies are all comic movies. I try and only buy movies that I'm going to rewatch. The Marvel films, I love them. These ones, for the most part, are Marvel Studios, but I do have Deadpool, so I kind of consider it an X-Men film. Up until I saw Logan last week, I was like, you know what? Even though there's probably about 15 minutes of X-Men action in this film, this is the single best X-Men film out there, because the other ones just weren't that great, aside from First Class and bits and pieces. The last few, actually not last few, because Apocalypse I thought was awful. But I saw Logan. Logan, in my opinion, is the best film in the X-Men universe after, or Deadpool follows it, though. But Logan was great. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. I'm going to go see it again when I have my Thursday and Friday off. Such a rewatchable film. Next up is the Steelbook from Doctor Strange. It's upside down, sorry. I usually won't spend a whole lot of extra money getting a special edition if the normal version is cheaper, but the normal version was as much as the Steelbook, so I got the Steelbook instead. So I ordered this from Best Buy, got here the day before the release date, saw this in theaters, rewatched it. I need to rewatch it again. This is just a fantastic film, one of the best films that Marvel Studios has put out, in my opinion. I love Doctor Strange. The new comic run with Doctor Strange is also fantastic, so definitely check that out too if you like the character. Next up, we've got Ant-Man, Civil War, and we have the Avengers, The Age of Ultron. Civil War, I think I paid $7 for. Ant-Man and Avengers, I want to say I probably paid about $15 each for, because I pre-ordered them at Hastings, rest in peace, and I got them for $15, and I had store credit, so I probably didn't pay much of anything for these. So that about does it for the movies. I've got, let's see, 7 minutes left, so let's try and get this taken care of before my camera dies. So I do have some random stuff to show you guys. A lot of the stuff I got dirt cheap. A few of these I actually probably only paid dollars for because Hastings, unfortunately, and TradeSmart going out of business. So two that I definitely got from those places that were probably 80% off. I have this nice little vinyl Stan Lee from Funko, and then I can't recall who released. Okay, so Kid Robot, which is owned by NECA, released this Snoop Dogg, and this was so cheap. And I'd wanted this guy for a long time, but it was like 60 bucks when it was first released. I probably paid like $8 for this, guys, because it was so marked down. The joint is removable, the sunglasses are removable. Just a cool little vinyl piece that I usually have sitting on the shelf behind me where I keep my records and my books. So there are those two. Next up, I've got some really cool Hellboy items, guys. Hellboy stuff, there's not a whole lot of it out there. What's out there is typically expensive, so if you find it cheap, you grab it. This was not that cheap, but I got it at Astro Zombies. This is the Rocket Pack comic Hellboy from the second series of the comic Hellboy stuff Mezco released. This one, my friend Sade actually got for me because I'd mentioned that it was at Astro Zombies and I'd already bought this guy. I couldn't buy this one, but I wanted it, but I couldn't justify spending the money on it, so she grabbed it for me just because she's awesome. So there is the Hellboy. This is from the very first movie series from Mezco. Next up, let's show the Star Wars stuff because I've got a few random bits and pieces here. I've got the Old Man Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love it. This looks so great. This looks just like Alex Guinness. So this looks fantastic. I love this guy. The Black Series. I don't really collect Star Wars toys, but there's a few from the Black Series I'll buy if they look good enough and if I like the characters. So I've got Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Chewbacca, and then I've added these two to my collection. I got a Stormtrooper I got at Kohl's for a few bucks too. I have the C-3PO Walgreens exclusive. Grab that guy. Next up, I've got some of the bigger ones I got on sale at Kohl's. And this one I got from Target, actually, from the new film. Then I have the Kylo Ren from The Force Awakens. These are, I want to say, like 16 inches each. This one's almost 18 inches, but these sit next to my TV. Grab some Mad Balls. So this is a big Kid Robot foam Mad Ball from Toys R Us. It's I'm not sure if it's an exclusive to Toys R Us, but this is like the one thing that I play with the most. I actually take this to work and throw it around when I walk around because sometimes the last few hours of the day I'm finished with my work and it just inches by slowly, so I try to keep myself busy. I also got two little mini blind boxes. I don't think I'm going to buy very many more of these guys, but these are really cool. I have these sitting on my shelf. They come with little tiny translucent slime stands too, which is cool. Okay, so we're wrapping it up. This one thing I love, my mom got it for me. It's a little porcelain ghost for Halloween she found at a garage sale. This sits next to one of my Ouija boards. I think this is the coolest thing I own. I love this. Picked up a Ninja Turtle bootleg NECA figure from the comic. These usually go for about 60 bucks each, I want to say, but the bootlegs are like $10 and they look just as good as the originals, and you can get them like the original NECA releases or you can get them with the colored bands. This one is Leonardo with the red band from the comic. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy any more of these, but I really wanted to have one. I've wanted to own one of these for a long time and I finally have it, and they are this guy's fantastic. So Johnny, if you don't own these, honestly, bootlegs aren't that great, but neither is paying 60 bucks for a single figure, so the bootleg is the way to go. From Japan, took about 2 weeks to get here. Looks excellent, I love it. And the last things I'm going to show real quick before this camera dies, because I have less than a minute left. We've got Baby Groot, Hot Topic exclusive from Funko. We have Hero Ash from Ash vs. the Evil Dead, and the very last thing I picked up is Leatherface Retro Cloth from NECA from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I love this guy, and that about does it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. It's gonna cut off any second now. Please subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. I love hearing back from you guys, and again, thank you so much for always being there for me. You guys rock.